Fire away. Who got the first one? Tim, go ahead.
Tim Healy, ASU Radio. Greg, it is a not-so-happy valley this week after what happened Saturday night. How do you plan to make it a less happy valley with your two games this weekend?
I thought about that, Tim. That's a great question, but they're completely unrelated, unfortunately for us. So, we're just excited to get going, right? It's awesome that we're playing such a good team, a Frozen Four team from last year with even more talent than they did. So it's going to be a great barometer to see where we are. But it's going to be great for our fans and everybody that's going to be in the building. I know it's going to be a tough ticket, but they're going to see college hockey's very best right away out of the gates this year.
Jake Sloan, Sun Devil Source coach. After the fan show-out at the Blackout against TCU, the show-out for your guys' walk, what do you think the growth in the community and the support for Sun Devil Athletics over the last couple of years has done for you guys?
It's awesome. And obviously everything trickles downhill from these guys here, right, in football. When they're successful, it just adds to the notoriety. It adds to everything being really positive around the athletic department as a whole. So, obviously we're all behind them and appreciate their momentum that they're giving all of us. But it's I guess his whole thing about activating the Valley is it's collective with all of us, right? It's a collective movement within the entire department. It's not just them. Certainly, we're doing our part. We're 102% capacity last year. I have full intentions of making sure we're sold out every night again this year. And it becomes contagious, when winning breeds winning. It's as simple as that. Success breeds success. So it's really cool to be a part of.
Coach, good afternoon. Andrew Hazlett, Devils in Detail. I know you've got a lot of freshmen on the team, I believe the most since your first season as a program. How impactful are they going to be day one in this program?
They're hugely important, and I think what you'll see with our roster builds kind of moving forward is we've been easily probably one of the top portal teams, if the top portal team in the country for the last few years. We're still going to go to it, but a lot less. So in hockey, you recruit kids, and they're committed 3, sometimes 4 years out. So it's taken a while for our young recruiting to catch up to make sure that when they come in, we're at the level where we don't have a huge drop-off and it's caught up with the program. So you're going to see bigger freshman classes, more talented freshman classes moving forward from us. We're always going to go and supplement our needs out of the portal because it's there and we're successful out of it, but you're going to see a lot less of it. And I think even more importantly, in today's college landscape, it's hard for fan bases to really build true affinity to teams and players. And because of the turnover, it's so volatile, right? And we want to be a program where we don't have a lot of turnover. We don't send a lot of guys into the portal. It's all about retention of those really elite freshman classes and make sure that they're getting everything that they need and they develop, and we're fulfilling our end of the bargain so they stay. And that's our goal, is to build classes that our fans can become attached to for 4 years, kind of like how college sports used to be. If we can give that to our fan base, we'll be really proud of that.
Chris Cartman, Sun Devil Source. Greg, in what areas would you say that you have the most confidence or just knowledge about where your team is at? And then where are you going to really learn the most from the early season?
I think just the depth of our team is so dramatic. We're so dramatically deeper than any team we've had. And I've said a couple times, I think this year's fourth line could be most of our team's second line, for sure all of our team's third. And fifth could be the third, or fifth could be the fourth. The guys in the stands, we're going to have guys in the stands Friday night that would never have dreamed of coming out of the lineup. So when you go from 18 to 26 scholarships, that's the luxury you have. You have 26 full ride kids, where in the past, we are on 18 scholarships, but it was an equivalency sport. And so really only 6 to 8 kids were on full rides. The rest was split up and divided up and managed like a salary cap to build your roster. So now, we're just so much deeper. But it's made practices incredibly competitive. And it's going to be a lot on the staff to manage egos and personalities and keep kids happy and keep them driven. and supportive, and that's on us to do, and I'm confident that we will. So love our depth, love everything about that, and we're just a lot of new faces, right? So we've looked really good in practice, but until the bright lights are on and games are on TV and they're playing in front of sold-out crowds, you don't know how kids are going to perform under that microscope and pressure. But I have full confidence that our guys are going to be good. Our D core is very young. Our oldest D is a junior in Anthony Dowd. We have no seniors on the back end. We have 4 freshmen, 3 sophomores in Dowder. Obviously, Tucker's kind of a swing guy up and back, but he's our only senior. So a really young D core, really talented D core. But what's exciting about it is it's a D core that can grow and continue to grow into the future with.
Coach Matthew Jacobson, C-Trade Sports. I know in the past you've said that you do like recruiting local talent, but you're not going to go out of your way. You want to get the best possible players. Can you just talk a little bit about Ty Nash specifically and recruiting the local kid?
Yeah. Ty was a kid we recruited the first time around, and he decided to go into the Western League when the rule was obviously that you're foregoing your college eligibility to go play in the CHL. So one of the first things that happened when the CHL rule change happened is obviously I know his father Tyson well, and Tyson and I connected, and I actually bumped into Tyson on the way to a road trip last year. I was in the Amex Lounge. We were early. Our flight was delayed, so I went to the Amex Lounge at Sky Harbor, and Tyson was in there with his wife, and I was like, "Hey, I think we're a week away from this happening. What do you think if it happens?" And he was like, "Holy." Like, yeah, what he would be all over it. So it happened, and I bumped into him and his wife, and the rest is history. And then our other local kid, Logan Morrell, is going to be a huge piece this year. He had a great freshman season at Michigan Tech last year, and we're really lucky to have both of them.
Hey, Coach, what do you think the increased physicality, you mentioned last week how you feel like this is the most physical team you've had. What do you think that combined with still your finesse and speed that you have on the roster will prove as a test against a team like Penn State?
Yeah, we have a lot of skill, a lot of speed, but north-south and just, size and some beef. Our roster is built a lot more effective in that way. So it's, we know we have the skill to beat anybody, but it's got to be will before skill. It's got to be will over skill, right? We got to wear teams down. We got to play them the right way. We have to manage pucks. We have to, play in straight lines and do all the right things and then let our skill take over, right? And let them to start to feel it and make mistakes, and then our skill can take over. We have both, where last year we certainly had will, but we were undersized. We had kids that could really play skilled, hockey, and I think, to use your word, more finesse than anything, and probably had a little bit too much of that for sustainable success. Which is why we had such a poor start to the year, and you're injury prone when you're a lot smaller, which was a huge problem for us. So the depth, the size, the balance, you're going to see, a top 6 of really extreme skill, and then you're going to get a third line of guys that just play hard, and the fourth line of guys that play even harder. So I'm excited about what the balance of the group really brings more than anything. But we got everything you need.
And a quick follow-up on that. How have you seen Anthony step up as a leader after guys like Ty and Noah kind of leave as seniors and graduates?
Yeah, Dowder's, he's our oldest guy on the back end, right, that's going to be in every night. So we needed him to come in and really take that role by the horns, and over the first month and a half, be a guy that's vocal, be a guy that brings passion and energy every day. And that's when he's at his best, and Dowder was a no-brainer to get a letter to. And I think he's one of those kids that gets a letter and it elevates him from here to here, right? Then he feels more almost responsibility to do all the right things. And he's always his best when he's vocal and he's bringing the bench energy even when he's not on the ice, and he's kind of skating by the guys, getting them going. So it's going to elevate his play to the level where we know it can get to in order for us to help us win.
Coach, you mentioned that affinity in your players. You're going to get to see one of them, Joey Decord, go in the rafters on Friday. What does that mean for this organization to see his jersey go
So cool. You know, he was the second ever official visit in the history of our program. He and I met, you know, on his visit. I mean, I spent the whole visit with him because at the time I don't think we had another coach hired. So I mean, I was still coaching the club team when he visited, and we had made the announcement. That's how unique of a situation this was, right? And he wasn't drafted yet. We hadn't played a Division I game at this level yet when he visited. We met in what you could deem a janitor's closet at Oceanside, and we talked about what the vision for this place could be and how he could help us build it. And that's exactly what it is. Our mantra is be the tradition. You get to come here and you get to set the standard. You get to be the tradition and be the guy that in 20 years said, hey, I helped build that. That was me that helped build that with all my best friends. That's what that mantra means. He's a living like proof of everything we want that to be. So then he went on and did what he did. And he's just a kid that loves this program. He loves this institution. There's not a day that goes by where he's not grateful for his experience here. He's such a great ambassador for ASU in this institution as a whole. And I'll never forget that I called him to tell him we were going to do it. It was early in the summer, and he was just so beyond ecstatic. And in typical Dax fashion, he's made a custom jacket for himself to wear on the ice, and you know he's just a beauty, and we're really proud he's ours.
Hey, Coach, you talk about obviously new faces and stuff like that, but going through conference play last year and with what this team was able to do, how do you feel that going, I mean, obviously a little bit to get there, I know it's one game at a time, but how do you feel this team's more built for conference?
I think it's just built for sustainable success over the course of a long season. College hockey is the longest team season in all of college sports. I mean, we start the first day of class and we end, if we make it, you know, at the end of April. It's a marathon, right? So you have to, you know, if you can build yourself deep and sustainable to absorb, because guys are going to go down. It's a physical sport, so you're going to miss guys. So the ability to have so much depth is huge. You know, the size is a big difference. You know, it's you know, right now we have arguably our best all-around player has to sit our first 6 games, you know, because of an NCAA ruling, and I'm not even fazed by it because we're deep. We're really deep. It's next man up. It's another opportunity for a really good player that otherwise wouldn't be in. And when he is back, it's going to be an unbelievable piece. So he teases us every day in practice right now, but we got to wait 6 games.
Hey, Coach. Your program in Penn State's kind of had a similar origin around the same time, and now it's a big game this Friday with all the national attention and a top 15 matchup. What does that kind of say about just the growth of the sport and growing programs to be a Division I NCAA program?
It's really cool, and we've been close to that program since we've made the jump. You know, they were actually really kind enough to play us the year before our club team won a national championship. We actually went to Penn State and played their Division I team, and we beat them the second night. And that was, in my opinion, the turning point of hockey on this campus. It really got the attention of a lot of people. You know, when a club team beats a Division I team, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. You have a team full of non-scholarship kids playing and competing against a team full of scholarship kids. So, you know, it happened, and it is what it is. They were in their early days. Certainly, you know, they're a much different program now than when that happened, but they gave us the opportunity. They gave us the opportunity. Guy gave us the opportunity, and really since that moment, we haven't looked back, and it's been build. Our builds are completely different. Penn State has done an unbelievable job. They're kind of what I call the ideal model. You know, they had their arena, they had their conference, their staff was there coaching the club team for a year before they ever started. Then they played a hybrid year. They had the ideal model where they kind of went like this. You know, our model was the realistic model. You know, we played in Oceanside for almost a decade. We had to get our house in order. We learned a lot of things along the way. We were independent for almost a decade. So, you know, both models proved to the hockey community that if you just have the right people in place, you can figure out a way to make them work. But we have a ton of respect for their program, both, like you said, some from the same origins, and they've done everything the right way, and we got a ton of respect for them.
And then, sorry, just a quick follow-up to that. They brought in a handful of projected first-round picks in the upcoming draft, and then obviously Gavin McKenna. How does that make it difficult this week for you guys to prep for a team like that?
I mean, we know how good they're going to be. Talent-wise, they're going to be as good as we face all year, obviously. But we play in a great league full of first-round picks on teams and full of players that we think are just as good. So, while we're going to have an immense amount of respect for what they put on the ice, we will not be afraid of what we see on the ice. I can promise you that.
Some coaches have a fixed system. Arkansas, 40 minutes of hell, Mike Leach, the air raid, the old 30 years ago, the Devils and the neutral zone trap. Do you recruit to your system, the power system, or do you recruit the best players and change your system, depending on what they do
That's a great question. And the answer is we recruit like-minded kids that essentially, our identity is relentless, right? We're just relentless in everything that we do. We might add a bad word that starts with an F in the front of that, but I can't say today. But that's our identity. It's relentless, right? So whatever you do, just do it relentlessly. If it's a skill game and it's score goals, then you better hump pucks and you better get above pucks and you better turn pucks over and you better have a good stick. But whatever you do, if you go to the net relentlessly, you do it relentlessly. If you defend, you do it relentlessly. So we try to find kids that just have that like-minded approach to everything that they do. Academics, do it relentlessly. Be a good person relentlessly. So everything you do in your life will translate to success on the ice. The hockey part's the easy part if you do everything relentlessly, the gym, everything. So those are the kind of kids that we recruit. I think this year's roster, the way it's built, and it's getting easier for us to build the type of roster that we want because now we have our house in order. We have a league. It's the best league in college hockey. It's won 7 of the last 9 national championships. We have a facility that any kid would die to play in. We have an unbelievable fan base built that sells out every game. We have a great staff in place that's done an unbelievable job. So we have, over the course of the decade, checked all these boxes to where now we can get and build the kind of roster. We don't have to settle, right? Where we love every kid that's played here, but sometimes you just get what you get when you play in a 700-seat ice rink and you're independent. You get what you get, right? And you got to make the most of what you get, and we did a great job of that. We don't have to do that anymore.
Hey, Greg, Blake Neiman, Fox 10 News. Saw that your new hallway where your players are, I guess. What are your thoughts on that with it kind of honoring your guys' history but adding that modern flair to it as well?
Yeah, that was. I mean, they did an unbelievable job, and huge credit to Andrew Matheson and Paige Shacklet, our SID, that really helped with that project. It was my brainchild, and then they just kind of went and made it even better, right? And the biggest thing that was important to me, obviously, now we have some history. We have All-Americans. We have NCAA statistical leaders. We have conference stuff now where we had 4 guys that were all league last year, and Potsy was on their all-rookie team, and Murch won the defense. So we have all this stuff that we can fill the walls with and brand the right way. But the biggest piece that was important to me was never allowing no longer, I don't know how long I'm going to be the coach, hopefully for a longer time, a lot longer than I have been. But no matter what happens over there, is making sure that every kid that walks through the hallway doesn't forget what the guys before them built and what they had to go through in order to get us to where we are, right? Because at the end of the day, there's not a kid on our roster that would have come to our program in those early days. Not one. They want to play in a league. They want an arena. They want all the things that the really high-level elite players want. And so the guys that came to help us build this took bullet after bullet, and they still have the shrapnel to show for it. And so it's important to me that we don't forget those founding fathers and everything that they did to help get us to where we are today. And for our guys to have to walk past that, that's the biggest thing for me.
Greg, you said a moment ago that it's obvious you play in the best conference in the country. Where, in your opinion, does the Big 10 conference rank?
Oh, they're right there. You could look on paper in the Big Ten and say they have even more talent. it just hasn't translated to national championships. They don't have any since they formed the Big Ten, which is really crazy because every team in that league is so good. But Hockey East is also another conference that's unbelievable too. But I think the way that it's built out west and the way that we build our rosters, it is such a physical war every night. And if you can get through that and you're that battle tested by the time you get to single elimination hockey, you're just so ready for whatever you see. And you've seen that with the NCHC.
Do you almost at times feel like an honorary member of the Big Ten, given your experience from the COVID year?
Yeah. Every once in a while. That was a crazy season I think none of us will ever forget. And, when you're living in a hotel for 4 months and don't really get to come home. But, yeah, it was an unbelievable season. And our fans are reaping the benefits of that. Again, like founding fathers of the program that did things that I think a lot of kids wouldn't have done. That's one of the seasons. But in order for us, our agreement with the Big Ten to do an all-road season during a pandemic was everybody owed us a trip back, right? So right now, Minnesota came back, and Michigan came back last year. So we have Penn State coming in this year, Notre Dame coming in this year, Ohio State coming in this year. That's great opportunities for our fans, right? Name brand programs and institutions coming to Arizona State. So we still have Michigan State and Wisconsin left, and we're working on those.
You gave Cruz Lucius an A on his jersey. How important is he going to be to your team this year after battling injuries last year?
Yeah, we know how good he is. I mean, he was Wisconsin's leading scorer 2 years in a row. He's such a gifted player, and he was up against it last year. He had no offseason. He had no training camp. He had really no practice leading into his first games. He was healthy, cleared, maybe practiced 3 or 4 times, threw him into the fire against North Dakota, and really he did the best he could. He just was so behind by the time he got in. This summer, he put in the work. He's in better shape than he's ever been in. He's been an unbelievable leader for the guys. He's in his 4th year of college hockey. I still stand by what I said. I think he's easily one of the best and most talented players this program's ever had, and I'm excited for him to show that.
Coach, you mentioned getting your house together, and in a lot of ways, just out of pure respect, this institution has done and your program has done what the NHL couldn't do here. And you have another program on the rise here with the women's team. Where do you see them in terms of being able to potentially make an NCAA jump in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super proud of what they've done, and what Lindsay's done has been incredible. She's a great program operator at that level, and started something from scratch and has built it into a really good ACHA women's program. Do I think I'm really partial to women's hockey. I love it. My daughter, I just was at Union, where my daughter's a freshman, and saw her first college games this past weekend. Love girls hockey. Like, I'm a huge advocate for it. So nobody would be happier if we added it than me, and more supportive of it than me. But in today's collegiate, I don't want to speak obviously for Graham or anybody on campus. In today's collegiate landscape, nobody's adding sports. Nobody's adding sports unless they can guarantee it's going to be a revenue generator. And I don't think you could point to any of the 40-plus women's programs and say that they generate revenue. That's just me being real. So, in answering your question, if somebody stepped up and wanted to donate $100 million, anyone out there that wants to do that, and there are people crazy enough to do it, then I'm sure we'll talk. Right? So if that's the case, then contact me and let's make it happen.
Coach, you have another really dangerous tandem in the crease this year. How do you, as of now, plan on kind of approaching splitting it? Great question.
I think we have 2 really good goalies that look like number ones every day in practice, in Haz and Herbs. You gotta go with the experience to start, right? Haz will be at net Friday night. And it's really his net to keep, and that's the beauty of having such a really talented freshman like Sam, that pushes him every day in practice, because Haz sees it. He's like, holy crap, this kid can play, So Sam will get his time, he'll get his starts, and then obviously by the time we head into next season, he's in a position confidence-wise and experience-wise where we know he's the guy to take over for the next few years. So it's a really good setup where we got a senior and a freshman to transition into the future with, but a guy that's clearly good enough to get us to where we need to go right now.
And Coach, obviously chemistry is built with playing games, what you see in practice, but when you start so early and having the new faces these guys get in, how would you feel that, at least through practice, the chemistry is being built with this team?
Yeah, I mean, I chemistry is really built off the ice more than anything, and when you have 17 new faces, that's the biggest part of my job is to make sure that we instill and pass our culture on to every new player that comes into our program, and they understand what the standard is every day on, but most importantly off the ice when they're away from the rink, and what they're doing away from the rink, and making them understand that everything they do in their life translates to success. The hockey part should be the easiest part, right? If you're taking care of what you need to take care of away from the rink will work itself out, right? Like, that's the easy part of their lives, is playing the game they love that they're really good at playing. But the best thing that we did was name Kyle Smolin and Bennett Shimmick our captains, our co-captains, because they have done an unbelievable job really gelling this group together. You hear kids say it all the time, oh, we got a tight-knit group, it's a really close group, and but these guys really are. Like, I don't think they do anything apart. I think they're all together all the time. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most to me. So you develop that chemistry and that support away from the rink when we're not around, and it just comes natural in the moment.
Coach, obviously Penn State, big matchup this weekend. What's the biggest thing you're going to be looking for out of your boys going into this weekend?
Just that will factor, right? Like, both teams aren't going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. We're both going to go into Sunday looking at film going, wow, we got a lot to work on, right? But at the end of the day, when you play this early, what's really unique and crazy about college hockey is that we're not even full hours, and we're playing a game Friday night. So you have to be so, at least the programs that follow the rules like we do, you have to be so precise and just selective on what you work on, because your time is so limited with your players leading into your first contest. So it's pretty crazy how that rolls out that way. So you're going to make mistakes, right? So it's not going to be perfect. They're not going to understand exactly how you want to play. But if you do just drill home your identity, which is that relentless word, right? And everything that we do, and your will outmatches theirs, we like our chances against anybody because we're really talented. Anything else? It's crazy. I mean, you think about how stupid that is, right? Like, it's so stupid. We can't do anything with them over the summer. So coaches aren't allowed to work with our players. They're not allowed to sit down and do film. You can't do anything over the summer. You see basketball getting to get on the court with their guys and girls and volleyball and all the off-season work that they're allowed to put in. We're just in full hours this week, and we play Friday night. So we're all in the same boat. But I think if you asked across the board college hockey coaches, like, just give us full hours when classes start, If you want to keep us off the ice in the summer, fine. But when classes start, give us a month of full hours with these kids and let us make them better. It's their job. So it's crazy, it's weird, but it is what it is, as they say. There is no reason. It's just utter stupidity. So that's the best thing I could tell you. The last thing I want to say is so we talked about all the players that were founding fathers and helped us develop our program into what it is today. There's a lot of people off the ice that's done the same thing, right? And one of them is leaving us here in a couple weeks. Our SID, Paige Shacklet, has found a life-changing opportunity away from college and college athletics. But Paige has helped us build a brand. She's helped us do so many things that have led us to where we are today. So Paige, I love you. Right, we're gonna miss you. We got her for 4 more home games, and then after that, the place is gonna come crumbling down. So when it does, I don't want you to feel bad, but so if you enjoy your time with her these next 2 weeks, because she is an unbelievable person and great at what she does. So, but congratulations. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.